that I predicted the truth, and that truth has come out. We have nowhere to hide except God to redeem us. I told you that the voter turnout in Nigeria will never cross 30 million. I told you that the voter turnout percentage will be not less than, if they are lucky, they can reach 40, but not more than 40. All factors. By the way, I want to tell you, I'm a member of the International Institute of Strategic Studies. We forecast military coups. We can see where the coup is coming from. We can see where conflict is coming from. The Institute of Strategic Studies in London, near Hyde Park headquarters, big building there. It tells you, if you're a member, life member like a Dr. Matang, actually what it is, what will come, what is going to come for Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, I told you that Africa need elections. And some people were saying we need elections. Now you tell me, I'm here. Convince me this morning that Africa needs elections. And which elections are these that Africa needs? Which type? Which elections do you need in Africa? How do you conduct them? Electronic elections in Africa? You are damn wrong. You'll never get anything. Look at the numbers. 80 million, 7 million. What do they tell you? Someone here on the platform, what do those tell you? These elections have already been managed. I was telling my Nigerian friends, to start practicing how they can live together. To start knowing that the elections in Africa were made. I have read the books of Plato Republic. All what you find in Plato Republic, it says, it did not tell you to hold elections every 5 years or 4 years. You cannot see any paragraph in the Plato Republic. The Plato Republic, in fact, told us, those who have read it, and I want to encourage students of political science to go and read them. I read the Plato Republic. It says elections should be kept to the elite. Because the elite can manage the elections, can know the contradictions of life. Just look at the Plato Republic. It didn't tell you to hold elections every 5 years. And you, an African, you are deceived by Dr. Livingstone. First, Bible. Second, now, after election, you have conquered land taken. Second, the third one, let's start multi-party system election every 5 years. Who in Africa wrote any book that says elections must be held every 5 years? Where is it? Why do you hold elections 4 years? How do you hold election 4 years, every 4 years? Then 9% of the registered voters, after wasting $50 billion of Nigerians don't have, some of them sleep on water with mosquitoes feasting on them every day. And you are here telling me we need elections in Africa. What election do you need in Africa, Juan? Are you normal in your head? You waste $50 billion on a framed skewed, rubbish election, silly, where you cannot transmit for 80 hours, 80 hours, 80. And I want to say, President Uhuru Kenyatta, for me, you are my friend forever. And you will be my friend forever. And you listen to me. Sir, I'm at least, I've been there, I've seen coups, military coups. I've observed the elections before you. Yes. Honestly. If I were the one writing that report of Nigeria, I would not write it. I would just get on a plane. That's what I did in East Timor. I got on a plane and I came back to London to write my report independently. That's what I did in Zimbabwe. I challenged General Abdul Salam, the one who is now contesting the same elections in Nigeria, in Miko's hotel. I put up my hand, I said, General Abdul Salam, you have destroyed one of the greatest countries in Africa, because you have concocted results from the Commonwealth. You came to read them last night. These results were not like this. From that day, Zimbabwe was not the same, Miriam. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the platform. The Twitter space, Matanga Twitter space, the struggle for a better Africa. I'm not talking about your country or any country in particular. I'm talking about Nigeria now. If Nigeria is yours also, you can get annoyed because I'm talking about elections. You go and hang. Go and hang. I've been waiting for one thing, now I know it. I've got it. Go and hang! Because we are going to tell you now. Yes. You can't tell people not to speak. Where is AU? Your Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta, you can't write a report to say things were... What? What? No. No. This is a skewed election. A bad election. 60 million, Miriam, in Nairobi, Kenya. Good morning, Miriam. Come on the space and do the house cleaning, the house exercise, not because you are a woman, but it is housekeeping. Let's not call it house cleaning. Because some people might attack me and say, now you have taken women to do house cleaning. No. Miriam, I am very far away from Miriam. I'm in London and Miriam is in Nairobi. Miriam, take it away, my sister. This one, we saw it coming. Therefore, we have no regrets. Take away and tell us some of the headlines in Nairobi and across Africa, in Uganda, and elsewhere. In Mexico, I can see a revolution toppling a president in Mexico. Voila! Revolutions have no timetable. Did you know that, Miriam, in political science, revolutions have no timetable? And never be convinced that you have a timetable for revolution. No! Revolutions have no timetable. If you look at the uprising in Tunisia, it didn't have a timetable. If you look at the uprising in Egypt, it did not have a timetable. If you look at every uprising in Ukraine, it did not have a timetable. If you look at all the uprisings, regime change mechanisms, 5-layered, 10-layered, woohoo, 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 10-layered. You might not pass the 10 layers. You can't. Redempt, come back and redempt. Have a redemption strategy for your countries. Africa, have a redemption strategy. If you don't have a redemption strategy, walai ya Mungu, muko kwa shida. You cannot, these people can like you when you are thinking you are liked. You are not liked. Where is Savimbi? Where is Savimbi? Are you better than Savimbi? Some people, leaders in Africa, call themselves, we are liked by this, by that. No. Stop in that house. Stop in that leadership and look back and say, what happened to Dr. Savimbi? Jahan Savimbi. Let Africans talk the way they want to talk. And with this Twitter, you will not stop anybody from talking about you. In fact, they can create a full story to talk about you. So it's better to handle people properly. Handle people properly. Handle people properly. The wave that is coming ahead in Africa is dangerous. And I'm predicting this. The African wave is dangerous. Is it time for Africa to rethink whether we need elections, that we spend 50 billion and 60 million sit at home, they don't vote? Yeah. Oh my God. Miriam, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. You are on this platform, Matanga Space. We are also on radio, Punchline Africa Live. And we are also on Punchline Africa Television Live. I'm the only man in Africa who has combined the three. And some people are going to copy me. Then they say they are the ones. Copy Matanga. Remember this. I'm the only one who can combine the three. As you speak here, your program tonight, to this morning, afternoon, wherever you are seeing on my television station right in Nairobi. And in London, Dr. David Masanga. Over to you, Miriam. Let's hear the news.
Right. So the headlines of some of the newspapers from across the continent. We start with those from Kenya. The Star newspaper, Ruto to set up giant machine for 2027 race. DCI and EACC launch twin assault probe in Matiang'i. The Standard newspaper, why I will not accept or move on as new leader Raila Odinga, maintains he has neither met nor held talks with the president and maintains 2022 presidential poll was rigged and that he won't relent in pursuit of electoral justice and rules out political handshake with Ruto. That is on page 6. Anti-graft agency now goes after Matiang'i's wealth. And then House team rejects 10 billion Kenya shillings payments done under former President Uhuru. Daily Nation poll, Kenya headed in wrong direction. Kenyans cite the high cost of living for their harsh verdict on the performance of President William Ruto's administration. In the survey conducted from February 21st to 24th, only 22% say the country is headed in the right direction, citing the prevailing peace for their views. That story is on page 7. And that is what we have. So let's look at some of the newspapers from across the continent. We start with those from Nigeria. The Punch, Tinubu is clear lead. In clear lead, APC candidate files suit to stop INEC. Others from halting collation. INEC insists election credible, tells parties to seek redress. And then just up there, uproar as candidates reject the National Assembly poll results, and 76% of CBN anchor borrowers yet to repay loans. And all right, the Daily Trust. Tinubu is president-elect, receives a certificate of return today, extends olive branch to Atiku, Obi and Kwankwaso. PDP LP reject result, demand Yakubu's resignation. INEC kicks. And then West Africa elders NSCIA sue for peace. And then APC maintains majority in Senate with 49 seats. The Nation, Tinubu is president-elect. And up there, polls cancellation call. federal government and eminent Nigerians lambast Obasanjo. The Guardian, amid protest, INEC declares Tinubu winner. The Daily News from Zimbabwe, many ZANU-PF CCC MPs are still as ZEX. The limitation report puts them in a jam. The News Day also from Zimbabwe, government orders prophets and Nangas to register. Daily Monitor from Uganda, minister removes evil iron sheet off his roof. The New Times from Rwanda, peer learning and HIV and AIDS ending stigma, discrimination. The Citizen from Tanzania, glaring disparities in contraception and their impact. So that is what you have in Africa. And some of the newspapers from, the UK. The Metro, killed by their neglect. That is what we have. The Independent, take it or leave it. Sunak tells DUP, I won't change my Brexit deal. As top Tories tell Boris, put up or shut up. The Daily Telegraph, Hancock rejected with his advice on care home test. iNews, Sunak gambles his political career on defying Brexit deal critics. The Daily Express, also from the UK, Rishi's Brexit boost for UK. So that is what we have on some of the papers from Africa and a few from the UK. A very good morning to everyone.
Good morning, Miriam Ogutu from Nairobi, Kenya. Miriam, what comes out of those newspapers in Kenya as we begin our Hannah? Okay. Hannah, I've called you to come and speak, please. If you have sent you a message. The echo was coming, but I've sent you a message now. I've rectified it. Yeah, thank you very much. One of the things before we started this topic, I picked that newspaper from Uganda, where Miriam, can you read it again? It says the minister pulls iron sheets from her house, isn't it? What does it say?
Yes. The minister removes evil iron sheet off his roof. Amos Lugolobi says he has not had peace of mind for using the office of the Prime Minister labeled iron sheets to roof a shed for animals on his farm and accuses his critics of bias.
Okay. These iron sheets were stolen by a minister from my tribe. I'm very sorry to say this, and I'm always very much against against corruption. And when they appointed this minister, Honorable Kitutu, I told the world that how do you appoint a woman who is not from Karamoja to become a minister in that place? Because the record was very clear, and I hope President Museveni is listening to me. I was right. But simply because I am not the right Ugandan, maybe to say it. But for me, I give credit where it is due. This minister is from my district. Is my tribe's woman. She stole iron sheets made to be for relief, and went and put on her houses instead of distributing them to Karamojongs, so that the Karamojongs don't come to kill people, to steal cows in Kenya and other places to cause insecurity. She went on dividing iron sheets amongst ourselves. That's the type of corruption we see now, which I warned you that you are going to be, you cry tears here, that you are calling. Some people were saying yesterday, oh, we need an election. What election? 60 million people don't turn up for something. You have given me the PCVs. They have their cards, and they sat and watched and cleaned. Don't you think you are right? Even God could be laughing at you. Why don't you change the thing? Do you need an election? Where 60 million people sit at home, and only 24 million. Look at the figures, Miriam. And someone was trying to teach me politics here yesterday. You teach yourself, not me. You can't. I predicted this. I said it will not go beyond 30 million. How can you take a country to elections when terrorists are grabbing women, are raping women, are taking our girls from schools? Buhari is stupid. You are very stupid, President of Africa. And make sure that you don't step in London at all. If you are sick, go to Saudi Arabia, but not London. Nigerians have been just talking with you, but me, I'm not going to talk. I've already filed. I've waited. Ask who were the people in the Pinochet group, the activists in London, who were they who filed an application? Just ask. Where kuwa huko Nigeria, but you not step here until you release that young man. You not step there. Jaribu kukuja for, just come for treatment. Sindio uko na treatment ya ugonjwa yako, kuja. You never return. Life is not going to be as usual. I'm one man, I follow the rule of law. Once the court decides on an election, Matanga will never encourage anybody to go beyond that. And I want to state it here categorically. I'm not a party to anybody who goes beyond. Whether the court decision was bad, fine. I've been taught in British institutions to accept rule of law. The court decides, even if it is unfair, Dr. Matsanga will not take part in your whatever you want to do. Yes. But I will follow a judicial system to catch you. There are things that I had wanted to take to African Union, African Court of Justice, to embarrass some countries in Africa, but I pulled back. I have even Miriam, I have applications. I have applications waiting. Just waiting. I would have embarrassed some people. But I just pulled off. You can play with Matanga, insult me, but don't insult me on legality. Don't ever try on these international agencies. Never. You will not defeat me. Where are the Somalis? They were saying they wanted to take the Indian Ocean. Have they not been silenced? They are quiet. Because a giant came in the middle. They now have to talk nicely with Kenya and you share the oil. Don't come to bring war on Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, the election of Kenya is election is in Nigeria is an embarrassment. 90% of the total voters, 93.6, only 90% elected the government, the so-called Tinubu, Bola Tinubu. Some African presidents are going to run to give congratulations message. No. German, let's stand like Africans. If we were to make this continent better, let's not rush. 90%. An African leader, can't you say, where did the 60 million go? What reporter? They just disappeared and went to Angel Gabriel in the clouds. Allah. Thank you very much. The topic is very clear. The postmortem of Nigeria's digital selection, not election, selection. With, you know this thing called BVAS. In East Africa, we call BVRs. Nigerians call it BVAS. Everybody, Nigerian street, Lagos, BVAS. Beavers, oh beavers, we have brought beavers. Where is the beavers? Beavers became beavers. It beavered you. I was telling you that you are going to be beavered. I am laughing today, not because the situation is very good. You never know. It might turn out. And I'm encouraging Nigerians to take peace. Be peaceful. Please, don't go that route that I know you want to go. Don't. Be peaceful. Mukwe pamoja. Let's solve this problem of Mr. Tinubu. Cancel the election. We go back. This time, the machines must transmit. Hey, the country in Nigeria, stand up. But don't go to violent means. Don't fight people. Don't kill each other. I'm sounding a message. Let's go to court. And let the court tell me why an access server sits near beavers. And then that access server does not send to the back room the information so that the chairperson of the Electoral Commission can upload it. 8 hours past is when they started dropping. What were they doing with the results? Allah. And then the President Buhari has already written a letter. I thank you very much. He even violated the electoral law by displaying his, because he was sure that this is a stupid election. Stupid, kabisa. Why should we wait? He couldn't wait. Yesterday, another gentleman, Media Maza, I ran the mic and I called the first speaker, who will be a lady. Hannah, prepare your notes. And then Miriam will go after that. You'll go with your, give the background. Or you give the background first and then Hannah takes it over. Let me tell you, it is very sad that a whole president knows the law that says you don't display the ballot paper showing whom you have voted for. And he went ahead to display. What do you call this election? That alone, a whole head of state should nullify the election, because it shows you have actually preferred, you know who is going to win. And that is where the problem was. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Now let's come to reality. Miriam Ogutu in Nairobi, do you have some of the facts, the data for the platform to follow, to know what to do, what figures are there, who has won, yes. Where? Okay, thank you. Just give us the data while Hannah, Onzi, Nancy, Oma, get prepared. You are coming next after Miriam. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So as we all know by now that the ruling party candidate Bola Tinubu has been declared the winner of Nigeria's disputed presidential election. The 70-year-old veteran politician got 36% of the vote, official results show. His main rival, Atiku Abubakar, polled 29%, and Labour's Peter Obi has had 25%. Their parties had earlier dismissed the poll as a sham and demanded a rerun. Tinubu polled 8.8 million votes to defeat former associate turned for Atiku Abubakar and surprise frontrunner Peter Obi, who scored 6.9 million and 6.1 million respectively to emerge president hours after 3 opposition parties called for cancellation of what they called a sham of an election. Bola Tinubu was voted the next president of Nigeria by only 9% of eligible voters, according to official results. Elections across the world are generally expensive. In 2020, United States presidential elections, political parties and interest groups involved in the election spent about 14 billion, and we've seen other countries also spending a lot. And in this year's Nigerian election, the initial projection of how much INEC needed for its budget stood at 305 billion nairas, and that is equivalent to 661,557,200 United States dollars. So that is how much Nigeria spent for its election this year, approximately.
Thank you, Miriam. Is that all, or are you still on it?
Yeah, Dr. Matanga was talking, but I think he was muted. Doc, you're muted. You're muted. And anyway.
Hannah, I have muted. I am now talking to you, and I have now muted.
Hannah, go ahead.
Hannah.
Yes. Thank you very much.
The mic is yours now.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Miriam, from the studios. Thank you, Dr. Matanga, from the headquarters in London. Punchline Radio Africa is also with us on the platform, and the rest. Welcome to Punchline Twitter, Dr. Matanga's. It's all combined. You're on the television. You're on the. You are on YouTube. You're on the space, and you're on the radio. Revolution continues, and this is the way forward for Africa. Information streaming in all platforms at once. The topic today is the postmortem of Nigerian digital selection, and I love that. The emphasis is here is the word selection, with 60 million vote apathies. Did actually Nigeria needed that? Could they do it better? Could they have done it themselves? Nigerians have the brain and the power and the manpower to do it. Is this the cause of brain drain from Africa? That all our brains are drained into the Western world, and as a result, this is what happens to us in Africa. For sure, we know Nigerians could have done way better than this. So back to you, Daktari, if we could open up the space for the rest of the panelists and the participants on the space today. But is this as a result of brain drain? Because for me, fine, you want to do elections through digitalized elections. In England, we still do it manually. We still do it in paper. Africa wants to be a step ahead, but are they taking 10 steps backwards? Who is doing this? Who is setting these systems up? Is it African-owned system? Are we doing it ourselves? Or is it being brought up for us with a backdoor access, with an access that is left open for abuse? This is not the first time we see digital elections that are going wrong. We've seen that in Kenya. Service that are outside the country a few elections back. And I believe Nigerians could have had control. if they were to do take this route, they have the brains to actually set up this. They could have done this. And if we look back, it's all foreign companies and foreign entities that are given the third curtain behind a third hand behind the curtain, as Dr. Matanga always says. So what is the solution? And what is the way forward for the selection of the digital Nigerian selection? Back to you, Daktari.
Thank you very much, Hannah Nazi Omar from Mogadishu. I know it is a terrible situation where you are. The Somali issue is going to be on our lips starting from next week on Monday. We shall be talking about Somalia the whole week to see whether we can salvage and get this nation and tell the world what is going on in Somalia. Thank you very much in Mogadishu, Anna Nazi Omar. God bless you. Across Africa, we have very many people. Is this a selection or an election? Was it a selection by computers? Had it already been? Yes, I was right. There was a gentleman who was supposed to give me my $1,000, but I don't see him now appearing anywhere here. I would like to request him that Jesus Christ does not lie. He says, when you have promised and made a bet, Miriam, you appear and pay this debt or say you don't have the money. A gentleman told me, I will give you $1,000 if the percentage. No, he said the percentage is going to be 50. You know, Nigerians like boasting and saying they know. Now give me my money by Oga. I'm looking for it. And I think Mr. Nobo knows this gentleman, and you are going to ask him to give me my money. Thank you very much, Nobo. This is exactly what I said yesterday, and which I've been saying for 2 months. That this election will not go beyond 30 million voters. We have clicked. If you add the numbers, we have added them so that we give the correct figure. So far, those who have voted about 24 to 25 million. Only out of 93 million voters.
It's a charade.
If this guy is the referendum, you have no state.
It's a charade.
You have no state. Thank you, Nobo. Take it. I speak my mind out. Those who don't want me to speak, go and hang.
That is
and
it.
Go and tell Angel Gabriel that Matanga is speaking.
That is it.
You know, all of us are created by God, Jamen. Don't threaten people. You are not the only one who was created by God. All of us were created by God. God created all of us. You think Matanga would be speaking without God's will?
Thank you, Doctor.
I'm charged today. Where was the teacher what?
Thank you. You're a great Pan-Africanist.
Yes, Buhari has threatened the people. Buhari thinks he's the only one who was created by God. Even God created us to speak.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. No, you are there, you are in that place. You tell us, you know, 90% of your voters just came out.
Yes. Doctor,
what a shame.
The truth is that we, Biafras, we know that this is what is going to happen. You remember when Simon Ekpa said there will be no election in Biafra land, and the apex Igbo leader called Ohaneze placed a $50,000 bounty on his head to get him arrested in Finland and bring him and use their illegal way to kill him and all the rest of them. But today we are laughing at Ohaneze. Where are they now? Most of them could not come out to talk. They have buried their head on the soil, on the ground, because shame have fallen all of them. Even Peter Obi and his colleagues, they know that if I will send you an interview granted to one of the lawyers by one of the television in Nigeria. And the guy said he was a retired lawyer, and he knew from experience that Nigerian courts can never give any verdict that is true judgment, that will bring fair justice to this very charade election they just conducted. And I was laughing. He analyzed everything that Biafrans are agitating for. So in that case, we know that the people, I will send you some videos where you see in the northern part of the country where children, they gathered all the ballot papers, so people are just printing. When they finished it, they send it to them, and it was accepted. One person with print more than 1,000 ballot papers. So there's no validity in this election. We know that it's going to happen. We know that 60 million people they registered is fictitious. Some couple of months ago, or let me say last year, one of the CNPP party chieftain in Imo State raised alarm with other coalition parties that the sitting governor of Imo State, who was the fourth person during the Imo State election, and later Supreme Court declared him the winner of the election, but he lost woefully. The person that took fourth position later was declared winner. That is Hope Uzodinma. Now, he used different names from Arab nations, from Haiti, different places, to feed the names of his state in Imo State. The documentation are there. So we are not surprised. It is not a surprise thing that this election goes this way. And we have told Obi, don't go and ruin our agitation for Biafra. But he believe that he's going to remedy Nigeria. Nigeria has no remedy. We have all the documentation. People have spoken that there's no way other than to disintegrate that nation. So let me give others chance to talk. Thank you, Doctor, and thank you, Ugutu, and all the people on this platform. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Nobo, but I would like to get that gentleman who has to give me my $1,000.
I think we will go back to the voice message because I really forgot the name of that guy.
No, I know him. He might even have changed like the
profile.
Yes.
he might disappeared like the Nigerian beavers.
Yes, because now Nigerian beavers are disappearing. Everybody says beaver. But before you leave the stage, my brother, there is something, Miriam, that I learned about Nigeria yesterday.
Yes.
How many professors do you have? How many professors do you have in this country? Everybody who was coming was professor. Professors cannot detect
professors without integrity.
I was talking. I think you have seen what I've exchanged with Madame.
Yes.
We had a rough exchange with Ngozi. I told Ngozi, you have the same age. I beat you by a few years. So please don't shout at me. I told Ngozi, Madam, you are WTO. And how on earth can you go to say you are celebrated, you are voting, you are going back, you are happy? I asked Ngozi, when you are working under good luck, when you are working as a foreign minister, did you celebrate such stupidity?
No.
Then there she kept quiet. She said, my brother, you are right.
Doctor, let me tell you something. You see, the British and Americans, they will quickly rush to congratulate Tinubu, knowing fully well that he never won the election. And Tinubu is having a mental problem already. Is not mentally stable. So the Shetima, who is the vice president, in the next few months, I'm not God, I'm not praying for his death, but he is going to take over. And the Shetima is the main man behind the institution of Boko Haram, the terrorists in the northeast, and now that spread to all over northern Nigeria, even coming down to southern Nigeria. So automatically, they are actualizing the Islamization of Nigeria. And that is the game plan. Erfai, remember I said it in our last meeting here, day before also, that Erfai is the one who is the cabal who brought this Buhari into power. And when Nnamdi Kanu said that Buhari is dead, and the AU observed 1 minute silence in honor of late Buhari, they later debunked it. He said if they prove that Buhari is alive, he will drop Biafran agitation. Even in the 15 charges they brought before the court against him, they didn't put his statement that he claimed that Buhari was dead. Up to the second amendment, the third amendment, until they reduced it to 7, until the court quashed it. They couldn't bring it to the 4 because Tinubu said if they don't allow him, according to the agreement which they use in cloning the man in Aso Rock, then he will open the canker worm. They open every secret about the Aso Rock. And Erfai and Tinubu, they were the people who made it possible for that government to be there today. And that is why everything they do it with impunity. You can imagine Tinubu pronouncing that Obi is qualified, is 100%, he shoots 100% chances of winning the presidential election against Atiku and Tinubu. But he's Igbo man, and Igbo man cannot rule them. Instead, they will go back to war. You can imagine if somebody says such a thing in a civilized society, he's supposed to be in detention because that is a treason felony. You cannot say such a thing in a democratic institution if there is true democracy in Nigeria. So that is by the way. So I'm very glad that you understand the language of Biafra from the onset and you know Nigeria more than any other person in Africa. So I still look for Abidi. I think Abidi should come up again and give us a light about what he knows in the history of Biafra. You people must support us so that we can get our way through and separate from that enclave called Nigeria. Thank you. Thank you so much, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Miriam. Do you have any other news? Otherwise, we bring Mr. Piccolo. Piccolo, where are you from, boss? And the state, the mic is yours. Mr. Piccolo. Mr. Piccolo Bright. Piccolo Bright. Voilà. Okay. Since yesterday, what lessons can Africa learn from such an election? What can Africa do to change its elections? What can we discuss which can prevent violence in Africa? Because it looks like our election, 60 million people, over 60 million people were seated at home. They had the cards, they had the courage to go and vote, but they feared. Did they fear? What are the reasons that made these people not to go? Perhaps any of you, Mr. Famous Link, my man, always on the ground from the Rio country called this one I've been very happy. Famous Link, Mr. Famous Link, take the microphone.
Thank you, sir.
And then there is Chris. Chris also, Chris Kezi. Yeah, was Chris Kezi who said you'll give me 1 million, 1,000. Is it you, Chris? Are you coming with my money?
Thank you, sir. Good morning. Good morning from my side.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Actually, I really appreciate being on the midst this morning, and I'm gonna be brief and all protocols observed. So, and my time here is just 3 a.m. So, I really to be sincere, this moment all the thing we said last time has played out, sir. You see how Nigeria state, my country, has finally played their fraudulent election, has finally played their manipulate everything the way they want to do it. This is what they called election. Postmortem of Nigerian digital selection with 6 million voters. Apathy. The topic. I will not forget to acknowledge all the congregants in this platform. My honorable greetings to each and every one of you. Mr. Matanga, Matanga. Sorry, I'm using it in my own tongue. Mazi means sir. I want to call the attention of everyone, every dignitary here, to please look into the matter in Nigeria, to please help the indigenous people, to please speak loud, because I'm seeing a great anarchy coming in Nigeria. If the indigenous people did not separate from Nigeria, more especially Biafrans, it's not going to be easy. I'm sorry if I may be sounding threatening, sounding somehow here, but I'm seeing what I'm telling you, what I'm saying.
No, famous. So, all of us, any expert who is a famous, hold the line first. Any expert who is going to hide under the sand that there is no trouble in Nigeria will be a fake expert.
Okay, sir.
There is something that is wrong, and we pray and we ask you people to be patient and let Africa start sorting it out. Let African people start saying, hello, something is not very right here. Surely you can say, okay, 10 million can refuse to come and vote, but 60 million, surely 65, almost about 65 million people did not vote. You can't say this is just a simple matter. I think there is something that all of us in Africa must stand up and talk. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Nigeria is a lawless country. Nigeria do not have fundamental human rights. They have denied anything called fundamental human rights, more especially to Biafrans. The right to live, a right for freedom of speech, a right to make choice, a right to move. There is nothing, there is nothing Nigeria has on table, more especially for the people that come from eastern part of Nigeria, the Igbos, the Biafrans. The target of their calling Muslim ticket. I'm very, very sorry if you are here. Don't see it that, but in Nigeria now, I'm basically pointing out is for them to make Nigeria an Islamic state and bring the Sharia law. Other places that is Muslim is being practiced, but in Nigeria, what they are practicing there is not Muslim or Islam. They are practicing as in that archaic religions. Because I've been meeting Muslims all over I go. These people are not, more of them are not wicked. They are not even violent. They are not even destructive. But in Nigeria, they produce terrorism. They produce terrorists. What they are doing there is they want to use Nigeria to make a terrorist state so that they will launch attack to the West in the future to come. But it is paining me so much because the West do not want to see what is coming. The West eye are very blind to see that something is cooking up. By the time they finish planning all their everything, then they make Nigeria a terrorist state. All the terrorists will come. They will launch attack to UK. They will launch attack to America. They will launch attack to every Western world. They will launch attack. By that time, they can't control it because they believe they have everything it takes to gather what they need to launch the attack. I'm calling for help. I'm calling for the attention for everyone that can attend, everyone that can come for the rescue of Biafrans to help us. Because by the time these people will rise to retaliate or to respond, the world will not be seeing it like they'll be looking at them as they are disturbing. That's why they are working on civil disobedience, staying at home because they don't want to be killed. Nigeria is a lawless country. Nothing like election. What they do is selection. When after vote, somebody will come and buy vote. When somebody buy vote, they will swear the person in. They decide what they do. They don't want to hear the voice of people. They don't want to hear people as in choosing what they want to do. Recently, there was no naira, there was no cash in Nigeria. The people in the land, Nigerians was buying money in order to use their own money. There was bank everywhere shut down. Oh my God. Nigeria people are suffering, more especially Biafrans. Everything. If you come to the country now, in the northern part of Nigeria, passport is about 10,000 thereabout. But if you go to the eastern part of Nigeria, you will use about 70,000 something to get passport. They have subjugated us, killed us, as in all sort of genocide. In the face of this election, a lot of youth has gone down. So many is being killed. A lot of things. In Lagos, Tinubu set tongues everywhere. In Port Harcourt, even youth, those that is in youth service was dealt with. Mothers, children was destroyed. Are we going to continue like this? And still yet, they are keeping deaf ear, deaf eyes, keeping deaf ear, blind eyes, as if nothing, they are not seeing what is happening. I want to let the world know that Nigeria is a lawless country. And now it's going out of lawless. Very soon it's going to be a terrorist state. And whatever that is affecting us today will affect the world. It will affect Africa. If Africa want to be free, if Africa want to see another light, they should help Biafra to liberate out of the nation. Thank you, Dr. David Matanga. At this point, I'm going to leave you people because I'm just waking up and I want to start preparing for work. So that's why I said, let me come up and give a nutshell. Well, thank you, sir. God bless you all. Bye.
Thank you very much. God bless you. Thank you. You have raised quite a number of points, and we are not forgetting you. We are with you. We always stand by you. We have always stood by the people of Nigeria. All of you, we always bring it on the map, high on the map. And that is what we shall always continue to do. And that is what we are doing right now. Thank you very much. Chris, take the microphone and talk to us. Postmortem, what do you think? Are you happy with the results, please?
Good morning. Am I coming out of clear? Am I coming clear? Here.
Clear, very Hello. Clear, boss.
Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Here, I'm very, very happy to be in the midst of everyone here. I appreciate the host, Dr. Masanja. I appreciate you for hosting this space. I'm not really surprised of the outcome of this election in Nigeria. And I'm very, very much happy because almost the whole the whole world, their attention is in Nigeria for this particular election. And I'm very, very much happy because since the beginning of Nigeria, or should I say, the problem of Nigeria we are suffering today starts from the beginning. I mean, right from the day Nigeria was created. And for we to solve this problem, we have to go back to the the foundation of Nigeria. So, as it stands today, the people from the southern part of Nigeria, I mean southeast, Old Eastern Region, they are the ones that have been clamoring for independent nation. And now the question is, what brought about this agitation of self-determination? Number one, the main thing that brought this agitation is as a result of marginalization. And people, or should I say the government officials, they have failed to look into the primary cause of this agitation and the corruption all over the Nigeria. Because Nigeria, as it stands today, is on the verge of destruction, or should I say, on the verge of collapse. Nigeria have already completely collapsed as I speak to you. Because when a leader does not listen to the followers, that leader is on his own and heading to nowhere until that leader turn back to listen to his followers. So what is happening today in Nigeria, I will tell you that it is a miracle from God, because God wants his people to be liberated. I'm not surprised. Now, in the Bible, there is a history that Pharaoh during the time of Egypt and Israel, when God wanted to liberate the people of Israel, Pharaoh was very, very, very stubborn and very deaf and dumb to hear the cry of the Israelites until he was terminated. The same thing is applicable in Nigeria, and that is exactly what is happening now. Now, okay, the solution, if I should suggest the solution, because I know the thing that the problem that Nigeria is facing today, most of our African country too are facing this too. So I am a Pan-Africanist, and I suggest for us to get liberated, or should I say for African to ever experience progress, there must be freedom. It's just like somebody who was kept into cage. There's no how the person will make a headway, or should I say there's no how the person will make a little bit progress. There's no how the person can escape or do any other thing if the person is not released or freed or liberated So now, Nigeria as it stands today, most of us, most of our people here, some of them do not know the real cause of this problem we are facing today. And for you to talk about the problem of Nigeria, we have to go back to the interest of the colonial masters. So some people, some of Nigerian youths, they need to know the truth, because Nigeria right from the beginning is a fraud, is a fraudulent arrangement. So we need to talk about it first, so that everybody can bring up his or her, suggestion to the solution to solve the problem of Nigeria. So the people of Africa, I know most of them are passing through the same problem, and I suggest for we Africans to make headway, for we Africans to experience peace, for we Africans to have everlasting peace and progress. There must be liberation.
Okay.
And for us to perform these liberations, please, just a little time. Let me just round up.
Yeah, just
okay.
1 minute.
Okay. No, okay. So for us to carry out this liberation, there must be public enlightenment. We must have to organize a public enlightenment program for each and every African country to enlighten.
Have you finished? Chris, have you finished? Grace?
We seem to have lost him.
Grace?
We seem to have lost him, Doc.
Okay, thank you very much.
His network.
His network. Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Now.
Okay. Thank you. What I'm saying in essence is that Africans should come together and they form an organization that can see and stand to speak for African people, the indigenous people, and see that Africans are liberated mentally, so that they can be able to think on the things that we favor and they bring progress and peace to the indigenous people of Africans, to the nations that makes of Africans. That is my point of view.
Thank you.
And I'm very, very glad to speak to you, because the last time I tried to get you, but my system was misbehaving. So I'm very, very glad today to speak to you, and thank you so much. Thank everyone here.
Thank you.
Thank you,
brother.
Okay, sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chris is from Biafra, and he says he is appealing to us to talk more and cry even more louder, because this country called Nigeria is going to the dogs. We can't wait and not use the words we are using. It's going. Surely, if I were Mr. Tinubu, the first mission that I would like to find out why 65 million people, Miriam, did not turn up. Why? If I were Tinubu, I would just ask myself, why 65 million did not vote? 65 million did not vote. Honestly, I would find out. Instead of joyful speeches and the women, Madame, the wife is clapping, I would not tell my wife even to clap. 60 million, 65 did not turn up to vote for you. You are not popular. You are not popular. And here we are. Many people are coming out, and I think this election has, Miriam, shown a lot of gaps in Nigeria. Now everybody will be focused on them because this is the biggest number in the world that has not turned up to vote. It's simply people say they don't like even anything you are doing. Yeah. They just don't like to hear. Arrange them. Give them referendum. You can't just do a selection and call it an election. And the chairman of the Electoral Commission was telling them, go to court. You can't commit an illegality and then tell people to go to court. You have already refused to transmit the results. Then you are telling people to go to court. An illegality in law. Then you tell people, anybody saying that means he has committed a crime already. He knows that the courts will overturn what you want to say. It's pride, this type of pride. That's why countries go to war. I think Bismarck was prouder than these guys. And they brought a Second World War. I'm telling you. So, Miriam, let's have some music of Tanzania to soften our things. Then come in and close the... We are not going to take much time here. We have already wanted to highlight the postmortem analysis. It seems my brothers from the great land are really disappointed and they're very upset. Most of them are not talking. People are upset. Let's have Radio Punchline in Nairobi. Give us some good Tanzanian music to send us back home, and Miriam will do the final talk on what she thinks can be done. Thank you. Radio. Is the radio on? Radio. Okay, Miriam, if the radio is still very far, sorry. If the radio is still very far, you can make a few of your observations as we prepare our song. What you think, what can be done now? In fact, even me, myself, my energy is finished. I can't speak more than this on this subject because I feel for the people of Nigeria that 90% of them only elected this guy, and he has proudly come up to say he's going to be the president and lead them. we just pray for them not to start fighting. We want them to remain peaceful until a solution is found. We know people might not go to court. Some are saying even the courts will not overturn this. It's a waste of time. You remember the other case of Atiku is still in court. So the only thing that I wondered about Nigeria yesterday, Javas Bigambo. Brother, can you come upstairs and share one or two things about, can you pick the mic and share one or two things about this? What do you think is your opinion as an African? Do you feel happy in your heart that 65 million people stayed at home? They did not do an election, and you have wasted. Thank you very much, my brother Javas. You have wasted 65 million people. Did not turn up. And it is you people, younger, intelligent Africans. Younger, intelligent Africans who are academic. We should be the people speaking for these guys. It is very sad, surely. It's very, very sad. Very, very sad. I don't have even the energy to say anything because I saw this coming. I predicted rightly that they won't go beyond 40%. The voter turnout will not go beyond 30 million. There were so many reasons. There were so many reasons. I don't know why. So many reasons. Read your punchline. You can come down, then I bring you back if you want. Yes. It is sad. It is very, very, very sad. So, Mr. Javas Bigambo is an expert in governance. He's an African expert on governance. He studied governance. Javas, give us your take on this. Thank you very much. Welcome to the platform, sir, this morning.
Thank you so much, Dr. Matsanga. I don't know whether you can hear me.
We hear you,
Dr. Matsanga.
100% loud and clear.
Great.
The whole world is watching, is hearing you.
Thank you so much. First, the results from Nigeria, as well as the manner in which the election was conducted, the fears that we had concerning irregularities in security and intimidation, all that put together have put a very permanent stain on the democratic fabric of elections in Africa as a continent. Secondly, Nigeria has actually failed the integrity test when it comes to matters of free and fair elections. Additionally, I hold the view that Nigeria's Independent National Elections Commission has proved that the issue of flawed elections in Nigeria is actually institutionalized and structured. Because while we may later on wait to read the post-election evaluation report by INEC, the issue of reports alone do not help much. Secondly, there is the important issue of international standards of election management. Question arises from where I sit. Election management bodies in Africa need the standardized election management processes at institutional level, policy level, beyond even just the provisions of legislation. Further, the other component that now hangs on my mental sky is the import of election observation missions in Africa. Because nearly always we have seen the papered reports that seem to endorse or calmly flag election malpractices. We have seen them being technically at peace with various violations on matters to do with election integrity. These things must summon Africa to a discussion table. The continent must election with the issues to do with structured election malpractices, willful disorganization of elections at either at state level or by way of the support of state agencies. But beyond that, as Dr. Masanga puts it, the young people of this continent from each African country must start bringing themselves to a conversation, individual and even collective, that what more role can young Africans play in stabilizing and progressing our democracy? Because the issue of voter apathy now seems to be not only real, but must be registered as a growing concern on Africa's leadership. Because if younger people elect to stay away from participating in elections, when young people elect to hold their legitimate franchise, it therefore means that issues of leadership, issues of governance do not register as critical or of major concern to them. Now, this is not only worrying for the present governance aspects on the continent, but also worry about the future of governance in Africa. And I say this aware of the manner in which the group that has been christened Generation Z is presenting itself as apolitical and disinterested on matters critical to governance, economics, or the economies of the continent. They are only keen about matters to do with lifestyle and making money, but they also appreciate that critical participants. And so, Dr. Matsanga, I think I am concerned as a Kenyan and as a Pan-Africanist on how we as a people now need to see how we can build our continent from the displeasure that has come from Africa's most populous country, Nigeria. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Brother Javas, my younger friend. That is a struggle I have been on for a long time. The whole picture of Nigerian elections, the way it was managed from day one, spending billions of dollars, and then 65 million people don't come up to vote. It's a signal that there is something which is wrong in Africa that we must correct. You rightly put it, we must correct something in Africa, and that something must be, do we really need these elections in Africa? Do we need them? China, 40 years ago, I always give this example, but people don't take it serious. China, 40 years ago, had one rice scheme in my country, Uganda. After that, China said, why did we come here to grow rice? Yet we can go back and grow rice and make our people productive. China had a rice scheme in Africa and one railway state called Tanzam Railway from Dar es Salaam to Zambia. They went back after the death of Mao Zedong. China rose up and said, hello, we have made mistakes. We better hand over the rice scheme to Ugandans. We have taught them how to grow rice, which they have now destroyed. They no longer grow rice. People have taken plots and they are trying to build houses instead of growing rice. Let's go back. They went back to a drawing table. Africa needs to go back to a drawing table. Because the biggest problem of why elections, even in a populous country like Nigeria, is the one that keeps people having to talk about Nigeria conflict, diplomats wearing suits, planes flying in just because there is oil. Nobody wants to leave it. Nobody wants Nigeria peaceful, so that oil is drawn out by Nigerians, given back to Nigerians to improve their welfare. They keep it busy. They said, hold these elections every 4 years. When the chairman of the Electoral Commission, Javas, was announcing, he was calling, British High Commissioner, Your Excellency, the British High Commissioner, Your Excellency, the American Ambassador, you are welcome here. But he need not mention other ambassadors who are also equally very strong. What does that show you? What does that show you? So when Chinese sat back, they did a reprogramming of their lives. What is China today doing to us? I hear, I'm not in Kenya, but I hear quite a lot of things happening there. I warned the people here sometime that it is high time you arrange the tribe for the Chinese. Everybody in Africa must arrange a tribe. Every country must arrange one area where Chinese will be. In Uganda, I think President Museveni should give them some part of Karamoja. They will make rain to come there and they will grow crops. They are very productive people. Don't just kill them. Don't just hate them. They are productive. They can make rain come. They are about to make, they are like Israelis. Actually, Chinese are like Israelis. There's no difference between a Chinese and an Israeli. They are equivalent. They find out things which we don't want to find out. So China made its stand very clear. Today, China is lending us money. And some people are shocked how China got all this money. But it went back to factory setting. Isn't it time for Africa to go back to factory setting, Miriam, to ask what is wrong with our election? Every time we quarrel in it, we kill people, we murder people, we burn people's houses. What is wrong with our elections? If we don't do a fatigue evaluation exercise, we have a problem here. So thank you very much, Javas and Matovu. You are next, Mr. Matovu, you are next. Say something about this mess. Then Nobo, then we close down. We have done our best. It is very embarrassing. Let me tell you, it is a very embarrassing topic to talk about. You can't have 65 million. No, even me, I'm feeling it in my heart. It's not my money. But 65 million people just didn't turn up. And then you say you become the president of Nigeria. You are either ruling them through a military coercive security system that kills them every night so that they don't rise up to throw you. 60 million people is equivalent to 10 African small countries. Isn't it, Miriam? 10. Calculate Gabon, Rwanda, Burundi, Togo, Burkina Faso. Calculate those kind of Mali. Look at the population. It all totals up to 10 countries, smaller ones, into 65 million people. So 10 countries in Africa did not come to vote. in one nation. It's very pathetic. Very, very pathetic. Mr. Matovu, your views.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Mathanga. Yeah, I salute everyone that is listening in and is participating in this discussion. Yeah, I'm speaking from South Africa, Johannesburg. I thank you, Dr. Mathanga, and the co-hosts for hosting this kind of Twitter space again. Yeah, like before you had already predicted. There is no question. And the guy who promised you some money should be preparing it for you.
Matovu, my brother
yes,
Matovu from Uganda. Maybe you know the name of this guy. The guy said, I'll give you $1,000. I'll go back to the tape of Wandera. Wandera should know this guy. Because I said, give me $1,000. I'll give you $1,000 if the percentage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
exactly.
Thank you very much. Proceed.
We can't trace him anymore. He's nowhere to be seen. But anyway, life goes on. Life goes on. Yeah. Perhaps I'm just speechless and I'm puzzled. And I'm still now. I'm beginning to believe that anything is possible in Africa with such an election in Nigeria. And I'm thanking the Nigerians for keeping peace as of until this time. Yeah, and I urge them to continue the same way. It's a good way to go. I'll speak about the relation of the population of Nigeria and those who voted. It's really hurting, but we have to go with what they gave us. But the Electoral Commission must be fair to come out and account for all the mistakes that were done. Why the machines didn't work. If possible, they should refund that money because it is a taxpayers' money. They should value it. The Nigerians are suffering to pay tax, but the money is misused. And I'm still believing that Africans, we are getting shameless. We are getting shameless in such a manner that even if it takes a African Electoral Commission to carry an elephant in a basket, they will do that. And they will have someone to announce whether it's free or it's free fare or whatsoever. But anyways, I just thank for the Nigerians who managed to vote. Let's look for the way forward. Yeah, because most people, they say, even if the opposition goes to court, nothing will happen. But anyway, those are our leaders. We have nothing to do. Yeah, but if I was a Nigerian, I'm speaking about myself. I can't involve myself in the next election under the same election committee that is in Nigeria. Because there's no way you can announce someone that has won when there are very many mistakes And it's good that most of the media houses all over Africa have brought it to a good picture that the election is a disputed election. Because if you relate the population of Nigeria to the population that voted, sorry, the population of the registered Nigerians and the population of those who voted, I'll summarize it as the person who was voted in the announced results was voted by his family and friends, not the whole country. That's not the choice of the whole country as Nigeria, because the population, the figures for the population, it speaks for itself. Otherwise, it's very shameless. And we are looking forward to see the neighbors, the African leaders from neighboring countries, who are always very fast in congratulating, whether you stole the TV, whether you bought it, whether someone gave it to you, they welcome you because you brought them something. Yeah, it's really unbelievable. But Dr. Masanga, thanks for being there for Africa and to bring more light. You bring such topics that bring out the reality that is going on in Africa behind the scene. Yeah, thank you so much. Let me hold it there. I salute everyone on the panel. And I love Africa and Africans at large. May God bless you. Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much, Mr. Matovu, for the good work you always do for me and for the rest of the Africa. Thank you very much. Keep it going. It is not only Nigeria, it's common. Our own country, 19 million people registered, only 10 million, 10.7 turned out. But that one is understandable. There was violence in some parts. But this one, 65 million, is a huge number. Noble, do you have anything new to us? Is there something going on the ground? Mr. Noble,
Mr. Noble, I see your hand is up. You can go ahead and give your opinion.
good man. Farai. Okay. Let's have music and a medium. After that, we close and we've done our best. Radio Punchline Africa in Nairobi, give us music. Today you are very stingy with your music. What's going on? Yeah, thank you very much. Farai, thank you very much. Farai, you can take the microphone, please.
Hello, hi, doctor. Doctor, today you caught me on the spot today when you gave me the mic.
Yes, I am not going. I want, before Jessica comes in, I want you to make some comment. Then our good Nigerian friend Goodman will finalize what he has seen. Is this an election, surely, Farai? Zimbabwe is going into elections in July. Do you anticipate this type? Are you using beavers machines? Have you seen the trouble of beavers machines in Nigeria? What's your comment?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's problematic. I think one of the challenges that we're going to have with such an election is the overwhelming turnout. Right? It's an unprecedented number that I think most African institutions would have crumbled to deal with and contend with. So naturally, I think some of the areas of incompetence, as declared by, be it the AU Commission or the EU Commission or a number of the commentators, were to be anticipated. It's unfortunate that these particular institutions were not as rigorously prepared as they should have been. But in the nature of elections, as we know, they would be disputed. But in the main, I think, yes, we can definitely call it. Some will be able to call it confidently a sham election. I don't see the institutions, the local institutions, agreeing with that particular sentiment. It were a lot of people that were calling it, even from the British institutions that I was attending, especially Chatham House and so forth. A lot of institutions were calling it for Tinubu. So yes, in as much as there is a lot of issues to take up with, but I think the lack of structures from the Peter Obi camp did have an impact, although the turnout and the votes would have been overwhelming. But I think we're yet to assess the impact of that as well. But from overall, I think that there's a lot to unpack with this election. To the latter question on Zimbabwe, I think this is something this is a case study for the country. I think the Zimbabwean elections are equally going to be unprecedented in terms of voter turnout. The numbers have slightly increased in terms of voter registration. We're seeing a heightened number of people registering as we move towards the election, hopefully to be done by August. So yes, there's a lot to unpack and there's a lot to learn, but equally a lot to prepare for, and hopefully, as we do a postmortem of the Nigerian elections, we're also hoping for post-electoral peace, so that the processes that can take place in order for, if there is need for recourse, that recourse is visited and equally put to bed in sufficient time, of course.
Thank you very much, Farai, for that. And it's a big lesson for Africa and also a shame for Africa. 65 million people got voting cards. They sat at home. They didn't vote. They did not vote, honestly. It's a shame. There must be something wrong with Nigeria, which is very clear now. I think those who wanted got it, and I had wanted Jessica to speak, but she has disappeared again. Let me bring in Goodman. Jessica will come and request. Goodman. Mr. Goodman from Nigeria, wherever, from Biafra. Mr. Goodman from Biafra. Okay. Let me bring in autopiloted Iboman, IPOB. How are you, sir? The mic is yours. I've called you. Come and speak. Autopiloted IPOB man, talk to us. Miriam.
Hello. Hello. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we hear you now.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. I'm sorry. I was driving, so I just heard my name, so I have to park. Hello.
Go ahead now. Jessica, come up now to speak. Autopiloted, just mute your. She was here and I think she went back. Now you can speak, Jessica.
Hello, can everybody hear me? Hello,
Okay,
can
you
everybody
go
hear
ahead.
me?
Go ahead, autopiloted. Go ahead. Make your point.
Okay, okay. Yeah, good afternoon, everybody.
We seem to be having a connection. Can you hear us? Because we can hear you from here. All right. His connection is not very stable now. Maybe we can have Jessica come in.
Just
and
thanks for giving me this chance to address on my side. My research about the Africa elections. Sorry, I'm Jessica from Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya. So my view to this Africa election is that when we check how the spaces Tinubu, Abubakar, and Obi in between spaces, we realize that during their campaigns, all these crowds had a lot of youth. But when they start announcing the results, you find that we all understand that most supporters of Obi were the youth. So you wonder, in crowds, he carried a lot of crowds, which consisted of the youth. But elections give us different results, so we need to work from the bottom of this. Why is this happening? What is the youth? Are they only making noise on social media and they don't appear physically to vote? Because it's a changing world, and we are all not from Kenya. From my own perspective in Kenya, I didn't expect the current Tinubu to win, because I was after the youth movement for Obi. So I think as Africa, we need to. What is this that is going on? Where are we standing out? Why are we pushing the agendas on social media? And when it's election day, we don't appear physically to vote. That's where the main issue is coming from. Because how can 93 million people register to vote? Then you get someone is getting 8 million in a country which is, it has a lot of youth. It's not making sense. That's my point. Thank you.
Don't go away, Jessica. You have raised a very serious point. Hold on the microphone there. Stay there.
Okay.
Look at this. 93.6 registered voters. 60% were youth. 60% was youth. In fact, they are there in the Nigerian Electoral Commission. They formed 60%. The rest 30% were the types of Tinubu, Atiku, and the rest, as Obasanjo, Matanga, and others. Now, you have raised a very serious point. Are the youths becoming liars? They eat your money, they eat the fare. There's this thing in Kenya which says you are eating fair, but you don't turn up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are the youth, because everybody thought the social media that Mr. Obi was using, if you go to social media,
Yeah.
you could find Obi and Atiku. But now we know the problem. I think most of these youth even sold their IDs.
Yeah, it's true.
What they call PCVs. It is called PCV. Yes, it's called PCV or CVs. It is voter card. The voting card is Nigeria. It's called PCV.
PVC.
Yes. Yeah, I'm right. I'm right on that one, isn't it? So, Jessica, you find that the same problem that happened in your elections is the same problem here. You had 80 million people not turning up to vote. But this one is very embarrassing. It's a huge number. Only 25 million came up to vote. 65 million have gone to Angel Gabriel. And I think they are returning from the clouds now. What do you think from your perspective? These people just come in for money? Is social media a lie? What is the problem? We know that in Nigeria, they fixed the election, that transmission was done. But it could have shown the percentage would have gone higher if the youth, who are 60% of the voters, came in to vote. We could have seen the higher percentage, but still we saw only 9% voting for the president and only below 30% turned up. 30 million, and that is it. What do you think is it has worried everybody across Africa? 10 countries in Africa have not voted. Jessica? Jessica, I have finished now. I was just giving you some information. Okay. Noble. Jessica, if you... Noble,
yes.
You now go? Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much, Doctor. I'm happy to come back again. Let me start from the young lady that asked what all the youths did. Does it mean they did not go out to vote? Yeah, let me tell her that the youths are even the reason why we're hearing about this election. The youths are the reason why we heard about P2B. The youths are the reason why even me and you are talking about this election. Otherwise, election in Nigeria is selection, just like we used to talk about it, times without number. But that is by the way. We have a group of people who just decided to pin Nigeria down and do whatever they want to do. And well, let's just look at backwards in 1993. We have a similar scenario. In 1993, we have the SDP, Social Democratic Party, and the NRC, National Republican Convention. These are two political parties then under General Buhari, Babangida administration. That's what happened is that during the election of Abiola and Tofa, Abiola won overwhelmingly majority of the votes. But the INEC official at that time, Dr. Humphrey Nwosu, were pressurized not to pronounce Abiola the winner of that. Hello?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
You can hear me? Okay.
Yes.
So I'm saying that in 1993, we have a similar scenario where we have the two political parties then under General Babangida's regime, National Republican Convention, NRC, and the Social Democratic Party, SDP. Now, Abiola, who is standing for SDP, against Tofa, who is for NRC, overwhelmingly won the election. But the Kaaba, the Caliphate, instructed Babangida never to hand over power to a Southerner. And they have to pressurize Dr. Humphrey Nwosu, who was the INEC boss then, not to pronounce Abiola winner. All of us, those who are, I think, Doctor, you know about this story very well. So they were able to suppress the election and stop Abiola from being the president of the nation that time. So the same thing is happening now. Obi, by every indication, should be the winner of this very election. But there is a group of few individuals who stood their ground to say an Igbo man will never be a president of Nigeria, or else they go for war. So it is not a question of whether the youth voted. It's not a question of whether the ordinary citizen voted. Otherwise, everybody wants to be. Everybody wants a change. Everybody wants a very pragmatic and transparent leadership to move our nation forward. But that is, by the way, we know that this is going to happen. And now, what is the way forward? That is the question we should be talking about now, and not about the 60 million that they did not vote, the apathy of the 60 million people who were not in the voting exercise. The question is, what way forward? It's not about only Nigeria, it's about Africa, because we know the position of Nigeria in the African continent. And if it's affected Nigeria in this way, I don't know what will happen. Nigeria helped to stabilize Sierra Leone, helping to fight the war in Sierra Leone. Nigeria helped to fight the war in Liberia. Nigeria helped to fight war in other places to do whatever thing they are doing. But we know that Nigerian government under the Fulani is not a genuine one. They are working for a certain group of people using different methods to suppress the ordinary citizens, the ordinary indigenous people. I want Africa to stand together. There is a philosophical song that says, Africa unite. It's a reggae song. So it is time for Africa to stand up again and unite. If there is something the African leaders can do, is to isolate this present elected regime. Let them be isolated and pressurize the international community to isolate them as well. That is the only solution, so that they can decide through presbyteria or through referendum what do Nigerian indigenous people want. Do we still want to be one Nigeria? If we want to be one Nigeria, how are we going to govern ourselves? If that is not applied, forget about it. Thank you so much. Let me pause here for other people to speak.
Okay. Thank you very much. I
Thank you,
saw Brother Goodman here and he's gone. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we have said what we can say. We have decided, we have been consistent. And this is my takeaway now.
Please, Doctor, I don't know if you can, I will send you a message later because I'm going out for business now. I will talk to you privately.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. For more than 3 months, I have been on this platform warning about Nigeria's elections. I have been very categorical and have stated categorically that there will be no elections worth mentioning in Nigeria. For many years, over 6 years, and this is my takeaway, I hope the studios will have to record that. For over 6 years, I've been struggling to make the world listen about the plight of the people of Biafra. That the army that was supposed to protect the people of Nigeria turned on Biafrans, started eating them, killing them, maiming them, dragging them in towns. Younger men were dragged in towns, beaten up, slaughtered, defiled, murdered, detained ruthlessly by the Buhari regime. It has now come to the conclusion from the gymnastics of selection of not an election. This was a selection using BVAS equipment, which we call BVR identification by identification systems, that this election has been fixed. And it was fixed intentionally by the chairman of the Electoral Commission, who said they have technical problems and they cannot relay from the BVAS directly to the backroom computer. The point that I want to make here is that I told the world that if the elections of Nigeria this year, 2023, 25th February, reaches 40% turnout, you ask Angel Gabriel to pray for me for another life. If it passes 40% of turnout, the voter turnout, I even swore to God that it will not pass. Analysts, you can see from the figures, 26 million of 93.6 million, you can get the figure. It can't be 40. It is not even a quarter of what was or half, not even 2/3. And I said it won't pass 30 million. No, I said it because I studied this subject called political science, international relations, the pattern, the voting patterns. I studied them. If you want, you can't beat Masanga on those. We can do an interview even when I'm being lowered towards my grave. I will beat you. I was very candid that it won't come. And I'm happy today. That's why I'm talking with confidence that today I predicted something that has happened. And it has come true to what I told people. That this election, lots of factors that have affected the voters, there will be huge voter apathy. The amount of people, the number of millions, 65 is equivalent to 10 African countries combined. These countries are namely Rwanda, Burundi, Zambia, Togo, Burkina Faso, Mali, Gambia. If you count that, the population of 65 million, it all comes to those 10 countries. Then how on earth would somebody say that Africa needs elections? If this is the type of elections that you are conducting in Nigeria, does Africa need elections? Does Africa need this type of elections? How many African countries are going to be lulled into a mess of electronic elections? I see Zimbabwe gearing up, and I see the Electoral Commission in Zimbabwe has already started talking about a BVR kits. No! Britain, where I live, where I am speaking from right now, does not use any BVR kits. But it is 1,966 years of democracy. I've been here for 38 years in London. I've voted for Labour Party and I voted until we won once in 1998. I want to tell you, we never saw these machines. And yet everything in Britain, including you can hire a robot to cook for you, is available. Now, who are you in Africa with corruption, with huge debts, spending $50 billion and 65 million people of the same people that you spend about 6 billion, 7 billion for voter education and registration? They did not turn up. How much would that money be to build how many hospitals? How much medicine would it equip the people of Delta region who are suffering, who sleep on top of water, and the mosquitoes are biting them every night? That money could have been used to the Delta region people, the people of the Delta region, Port Harcourt, and other places, to build roads where you cannot pass from one place to the other. It will take you months to reach for Christmas if you started on 1st of December every year to reach your home. Nigeria has no infrastructure, no new infrastructure at all. Nigeria still grapples with so many difficulties: scarcity of money, insecurity, Boko Haram. Our women, our children, our girls are being abducted every day, morning, night, defiled by terrorist groups of ISIS and Al-Qaeda, that format that has formed in the northern part, of which Buhari is responsible. I can conclude that Buhari is the commander of Boko Haram, because he is the one who promised us that when he takes power, he will remove Boko Haram within 100 days. What has happened, Mr. Buhari? You are going back to Katsina state and live happily with billions and billions of dollars that you have and your wife. But you are leaving Nigerians in a very poor condition. Let this be a lesson. Let this be recorded and be sent to everybody in the world, across the world, as an audio tape, for everybody to listen. I want people to know that Buhari promised us he will crush Boko Haram. He's leaving Nigeria in a worse position, the worst position ever. The people of Nigeria don't know what to eat tomorrow, what will come tomorrow. The number of people who did not turn up to vote is because they couldn't come. You don't know how do you stand on the queue. It brings back the question of elections management in Africa. You have talked about election management in Africa. This election of Nigeria, the time for voting was very little. Why doesn't Nigeria stagger its elections? Like it has staggered the governor's elections and other people in March. Why didn't it stagger? Only one day take presidential. How do you vote from 8:30 to 2:30 for 93.6 million people? Is it possible? When they have 18 political parties, where a candidate illiteracy rate in Nigeria is very good, yes, but not everybody knows, is able quick to pick the candidate. The time was little, time was limited. The computers were worked on. Somebody worked on the computers to fix this election. The beavers could not transmit, yet they were brought to make the job easier. Is this the Africa that we want? Ladies and gentlemen, I believe in Africa, we need better. We need better. We call upon the people of Nigeria to be patient, not to go to war, not to go to violence, but to use the usual methods of courts, We call upon Tinubu also to reflect and see that 65 million people did not vote. It should be his first question to tackle, why people did not vote. We call upon the Electoral Commission, if possible, they find that there was fixing of this election, to nullify it and allow Nigerians to go back to a poll again. It is always possible. There's nothing difficult. Why do we run to create chaos? That is my take. I'm Dr. David Matsanga from Punchline Africa Television, Matsanga Twitter Space, and the Radio Punchline Africa from London. Ladies and gentlemen, to you, thank you very much, all of you. We shall have another space on Friday morning where we shall now see why the youth are always on social media, but they never turn up to vote. I hope Jessica will be one of the speakers, because it looks like it has pained her from Kenya that people are on social media, very many of them are these youths eating fair, the Kenyan style. There's a saying in Kenya that people eat fair and they don't turn up for appointments. What has gone wrong with our elections? Is Africa moving back to the darker days of military coups? Anything could happen in a situation of this nature. I thank you very much. I thank you, Miriam, back in Nairobi, for the tenacity, steadfastness, Miriam, that you have conducted. I thank you very much in Nairobi for everything that you have been possible, and I thank the Radio Punchline Africa in Nairobi. From me in London, I'm Dr. David Matsanga. Thank you very much, all of you space goers. My space still goes on, but follow me, tag each other on this platform. Tag me so that you don't miss any. I will follow you back so that any topic that comes, you will be able. I can see Jessica, you have come again. I don't know what you want to say, but I was closing down. That is my take. So far, I think the studio has picked it. Let's hear from Jessica. Jessica, and then there is this gentleman, Piccolo Bright. I called you and you were not there. So you have come back again. I give you 1 minute each to speak. Jessica. Mr. Piccolo. Mr. Piccolo, pick the microphone, please. Mr. Piccolo once. Mr. Piccolo twice. Mr. Piccolo thrice. Jessica, you are picking the microphone and running away. You have another chance, Jessica. You can speak now, Jessica, straight away.
Yeah, can you hear me?
We hear you, Yad.
Yeah, I was just here to confirm that let's try to find to keep on this conversation so that we get to know what is the real problem, because it's the same issue that happened in the previous Kenya election about the youth posting on social media, but they don't appear physically. We have now seen a repeat of it in Nigeria. So let's see what is the core issue. Is there no fair inclusivity in the whole process? Let's make this conversation on so that at the end of this conversation, we can be able to come up with a good framework on how we can approach this issue to make sure we don't experience a repeat of the same. That's all. I'll be waiting to interact with you more on Friday. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jessica. Thank you very much. God bless you.
God bless.
Piccolo, Mr. Piccolo Bright.
Good morning, everybody in the house. My own contribution in this is this. Please, I beg everybody, do not fold your arms and watch Nigeria turn everybody to Muslim. This is the time for everybody to speak out. Let the world hear our voice. If you allow this thing to happen, it's a very big disaster to we that is Christian in this Nigeria. Now, we don't know our faith anymore. How can we live in a country whereby the president is a Muslim, the vice president is a Muslim, the House of Speaker is a Muslim, the Senate president is a Muslim? Every important post in that office belongs to them. How do we survive in it? Please, my dear brothers, I'm calling upon all every of you. I know everybody have a part to play. Please, we are very, very in big danger as it stands now. Nobody can go out and talk the way he wants. Nobody can walk as a free man in his own country. What kind of country is that? Is that how others practice their own? Our own here, if you talk, they will do everything possible to bring you down. If you open your mouth and say the truth, they will do everything to make sure they cut your head off. Is that how we're gonna live? Is that how we're gonna train our children? Please, let everybody hear about it. We're in a very big mess. Some people don't know the kind of mess they are into here. I don't know what is wrong with our people. We really need this country to be divided. Let them give us referendum. Let us go our way. This country is not working. Nothing is moving. Everything now belongs to them. How can we survive on it? Thank you, my dear brother.
Thank you very much, Piccolo Bright. That's why we shall keep on talking and talking and talking. I'm sorry. I'm one of those most hated by Buhari regime and hated by those who love Buhari. But I'm not scared. I want to tell you that I'm not scared. I have filed an application. I'm waiting for Mr. Buhari to step in London. You will know that there is a very good, tall African in East Africa who has done it correct. We did it way back in 1980 when we were demonstrating against Pinochet. I started my activism in here when I was demonstrating against Babangida. I struggled together with Osuji, Justice Osuji, who became the judge of the ICC. We were together in a struggle against Babangida to release Abiola and Obasanjo, plus the other guy who died in the Delta region. We struggled together in winter, summer, until Obasanjo was released, Abiola was killed. I want to tell you that I will not give up. I'm waiting for that Buhari. Mr. Buhari, if you hear this message, go to Saudi Arabia. Don't try to step in London. Go to Saudi Arabia. We shall get you. Yes, we shall get you. We shall get the papers. We want you to answer to a summons as to why you detained a British national, Namdi Khan, left him in jail when the court had released him. You have nothing to tell me shortcut. You are very, very silly person that I have never seen across. Your term of office has ended. We shall now treat you like any small dog that we find on the streets of Africa. And please, may God help us to search you. Activism does not mean we should be threatened. We shall get you, Mr. Buhari. We shall get you through intelligent papers, writing in ink. We shall file application until somewhere someone will arrest you. Somewhere. Get prepared. You can win this election and display the ballot papers. But some of us, and Mr. Wandera, I can see you have just come. I want you to go back to your platform. That man who promised me my $1,000. Wandera, you can help me to track this guy to give me my $1,000. Sorry, Kennedy Wandera. This guy said the percentage will not reach there. And on your platform, I said it will not be even up over 30 million voters. I think this morning, when you had the results and them announcing the percentage, you thought about Dr. Matanga. And you said, hey, what do we tell Dr. Matanga now? Mr. Buhari has destroyed this country, has destroyed the entire Africa. We are ashamed. 90% of the total number of voters voted for the President Tinubu. Surely, you can't call that an election. This was a selection, and the 60 million people stayed away, sat at home. What kind of voter apathy is this? What kind of voter apathy is this? So, ladies and gentlemen, you found us at the tail end of our discussion. Kennedy, thank you very much for turning up. Always, I will turn up anywhere at your place, in my bunker. I don't know whether you want to say one word here or you are busy. You show any sign. Kennedy Wandera, do you want to say any word? And remember, people to flock on Kennedy's platform every Friday at 9:15 East African time. It is always very bright. It is always very good there. Kennedy, do you want to say something? Kennedy Wandera. Okay, thank you very much. Kennedy would prefer to keep quiet. Jessica, thank you very much. I saw your message. And thank you very much, Kennedy. Yes, but this is something you can quote. You journalists who are here, I think you better quote me. Also give me mileage. I struggle for you for good journalism. I predicted the percentage. So Kennedy, I expect some favor from your television and your radio. Your television and the radio, Voice of America, to say there is one man in Africa who stays in Africa from Uganda who has been consistent with these figures. Surely, I deserve to be given a medal on this. I was telling you, they won't be 30 million. No way. No way. No way. And here I am. And I even said, if they pass 30 million, I will retire one degree. One of my degrees that I got from London, Guildhall University, which is under Canterbury, and they just tear them and they throw them in the River Thames. So I am going to keep my degrees now, and I'll look for another degree to add on another one, and another one, and another one. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Miriam, your last words, send us home with the good words about Nigeria. Oh, bad words about the whole thing. Miriam, talk. There you are. Just give it 2 minutes, and then we close the whole of subject. We thank all of you for having been here on television, on radio, I am one of the few people who has brought this technology. We are on radio, we are on television, online, both, all, everything. As you talk, your voice goes very far. That is me. Thank you very much, Miriam. Back to you in the studios in Nairobi, Kenya.
All right. I don't think I have much to say because a lot have been said. I think I'll just, I'm curious to just wait and see the postmortem and analysis that INEC will issue as far as Nigeria's election is concerned. But I want to thank everybody who took their time to join us in today's Twitter space, and hopefully they can join us later at 3 p.m. East African time with the latest updates of the news across the continent of Africa on Punchline Africa TV. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Punchline Africa Television, radio station, Matanga Twitter space, and on behalf of all networks, Pan-African Forum, LOTD.com, my think tanks across the world, on behalf of the people of Uganda, Kenya, East Africa, on the question of DRC Congo, on the behalf of the suffering people of Somalia, Libya, Central African Republic, I condemn the visit by President Macron to this region starting from tomorrow. He's coming to disorganize this region again after disorganizing East Africa, West African region. I'm one of the few people who speaks it as it is, and I will bring a topic on Macron. And if you want to know more, go to my website, www.panafricanforumltd.com. I have written a piece there, how Germany and France want to pull out of NATO because they are suffering, the gas is not coming, America is equipping Ukraine, the people are dying on the ground, we have no way of stopping this war. We want to save the people of Ukraine by saving this war and stopping this war. But more arms are being pumped into Ukraine, and Germany and France seem to be saying, excuse me, we are the people suffering on the ground here. Our people are having high costs of gas and other things. That is the next topic. But you can read from that platform, that website, you Google it, enjoy the reading, always make comments, and thank me for the voluntary work that I've done for Africa and the rest of Africa, of the globe. Thank you. God bless you. God bless Africa. Ciao.